And we're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. We have Declan here, and Declan and I met in Bump a little while ago, but we never really had a chance to talk outside of the group. So I'm really excited to get to know Declan. And Declan, first of all, thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Derek. My pleasure. And it's always good to meet new people and to find out their story, you know.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear yours. So let's start off with by telling everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Well, I'm based here. My name is Declan Kavanagh. I'm based over here in West Cork, which is the southernmost part of Ireland. I started off being a chef, and from there I had a health issue when I was in my 20s, and the I met my spiritual guides, if you like. And it sort of set me off. It was like a near-death experience, but it set me off on a road of exploration, one that I've been on for the last 40 odd years. And it was the understanding that we're not alone here, that we're more than just this physical body that's walking around, that we're a spirit with a body, not a body with a spirit, which a lot of people seem to think. And so it's been discovering, finding out more about who I am, what I am, and about this thing called spirit. Reaching out. So in my travels, I've worked on cruise ships, cargo ships, traveled all around the world, well, most parts of the world. And I've met everywhere I've gone, I've met some pretty interesting people, indigenous people like shamans and faith healers and stuff like that. And through talking to them and being exposed to another world that's within this world, and it's stuff that I find fascinating, that when you can connect with spirit, it's like, wow, all of a sudden you're being transported from this small self to something that's huge. And I just find that very fascinating. Now, of course, we have the likes of Cryon and Bashir and Abraham and all sorts of other people that are channeling these different entities. And so our knowledge is growing all of the time. And it's something that I've always fascinated with the like the pyramids in Egypt and Stonehenge in England and places like that, stuff which is fairly ancient. And who are these people? How did they get here? What did they do? And it's I think once we get curious that there's so much more to this life. I can call myself a chef, or I could call myself a massage therapist or a breath healer, but we're much more than that. So I formed a group called the Coming Home to You Network, and it's essentially this is what I've been doing. It's coming back to me. I've been finding out who am I? Where's my connection? What's the bigger part of why am I down here on earth? What have I come down here to learn, to do, to share? And so, with that in mind, it's by asking myself that question every day, like, who am I? What am I here for? Uh, and getting into the physical aspect of it by putting a smile on my face, by making that intention in the day. What wonderful people am I going to meet? Who can I have today? Putting yourself in service and asking yourself these questions, because it's like so much when we're in a life, when we're in a society that's all about accumulation, getting this, driving the right type of car, what type of home you have, what type of job you have, all of these exterior things which are defining what people are or what they think they are. It's like that's just smoke and mirrors. We're much more than that. And so it's to get real and it's to find out what we are and why we're here on this earth. What are we here to achieve? I think once we start asking ourselves this question and sort of going inside and connecting with our bigger self, if you like, connecting with the divine, now we start to see a different thing. And to realize, as being humans, one is that we're all parts of the human race. It doesn't matter what part of the continent you're living on or what parts of the world you're living in. We're all parts of the human race. And we're all here, I feel, to collaborate, to cooperate, to make this world, this Mother Earth that we live in, a better place for everybody. And it's to respect the land, like the indigenous did, and like all of the old cultures where they lived with the land, they respected the land, and knew that they were part of the land as much as the land was as part of them. we're not, there is no separators. It's not out there. We're all part of the minutiae that we call Mother Earth. We're all part of this. And we're here for a short period of time. And it's our job really to look after the earth, to look after this environment that we have, and to make sure that it's better than it was when we got here. And to bring our gifts, to discover what are our gifts. Why are we here? Am I a storyteller? Am I a singer? Am I a chef? Am I a healer? What am I? And what gifts have I got? My unique gifts that I have that I need to bring forth and I need to encourage and to share with other people. So essentially, that's what I've come in here to do. What I decided, and I said, what's the best way to do that?" So it's a lot of trial and effort, because we try little things and we put on this hat and try this thing. It's like, no, not really. You try something else. I know in life when you're growing up, people say, just get that one thing and stick with that. Whatever it is work. And if you can see I look around at people who are in their twenties and you were first going out into the workplace nowadays. And where before, like when I was in my twenties, you could get one job and keep that job for your whole life. Now that's not so. Now you have to have multiples and you have to be able to do different things, and things are changing so much. So that doesn't hold true anymore. Now we have to be curious and we have to be able to try other things and to be willing to sort of jump around a bit and to find out where do we fit in, what suits me best. And I think ultimately, I think we're all these divine creators. We're more than just worker bees. So if we can get out of that mentality of being a worker bee and say, is there something there within me that I can create that's going to be of benefit to humanity? And to ask ourselves those questions rather than looking for the easy street and just to get into a job and sort of stay there. We used to say a lot about with civil servants, was typically in this country anyway, where civil servants, you got a job in the civil service and that's it. You went to sleep and you slept until your retirement age, and then you got left with a big pile of money. These things are no longer there. And now we sort of have to be more, I think you used the expression, we have to be more givers and we have to be more cognizant of the world around us and to see, uh, like that famous poster, the world needs you, and it does. The world does needs us to step up and to not be playing small, but to find out what our gifts are and what our mission is, and to start to follow that and to share that with others.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great story and really interesting topics. I was wondering as you were saying those last few parts is if I was in a job and I was felt stuck and kind of miserable and I didn't know what to do next, but I knew whatever I was doing was not going to be wasn't going to last. What would you say that person's next step should be?
To use their imagination, to dream, to really get in touch with themselves. Nowadays, there's a famous saying there, in the Taoism. One of the students asks his master, and he say, "Master, what's important in life?" And the master says, "Chop wood and fetch water." "And what did you do before enlightenment?" "Chop wood, fetch water." Everybody needs to have their basic needs met in whatever form. If you have rent to pay, you need to have the funds to pay for that rent. So a lot of time people need to have that initially, to have that job to pay their rents, to look after their basic needs. But from that, when you get in touch with your imagination and you start dreaming and there's plenty of examples out there now of different situations, different types of work, different types of things that people can get associated with it. And it's to dream a bit and say, what would I love to do? If all things were equal, what would I like to do? Now, if it's something like being a doctor or an engineer, obviously you'd have to go do the study and you'd have to train to be that. So people need to be really honest with themselves and say, well, what is it that I would like to do? And there's people out there who really don't know, never thought much more about what they want to do or if they have something. And that's okay as well. It's a lot of the time life will present you with different options and you just have to choose which one. I think maybe sometimes there's too many options out there for people and they can get overload and say, well, what do I try? And I always think when you can feel something, feel the joy. If you're thinking about working in a hotel and you go into a hotel as a guest in the afternoon and just sit there in the lobby and watch what other people are doing, what sort of service people are going around, what sort of managers, what are they doing? And put yourself in their shoes and what would that be like? And try and feel into it. And does that feel like something that you would do, that you'd be interested in? If not, move on up to something else. Go to somebody's working on the stock market. There's plenty of movies out there that show different situations. And it's to put yourself in their shoes and be like the actor and say, okay, what would it be like if I was in their shoes? If I was a stockbroker, if I was making all of these deals and all of that sort of stuff, would that be something that would interest me? And you sort of whittle it down a little bit and you find, you come up with maybe two or three things that I say, yeah, I think I might like that or I might like that. And then you just, say, okay, now how will I go about becoming the doctor or the stock trader or the banker or the massage therapist or whatever the case may be. And then you do your training and you do it. And if that doesn't work out, you feel that no, it's not really the thing. Move on to the next stop. There's no thing, there's nothing out there that tells you have to have it all sorted before you're 21, or you have to have everything sorted before you're 30, or you're 40, or you're 50. It takes how long it takes, and as long as you're being happy doing it and you're enjoying the ride because I mean there's so much diversity out there and it's yeah, try as many things as you can, and it's not until people really get married and then they find that they have to get a mortgage and that there's children on the way. Now somebody needs to have something that's stable. So ideally you'd want to have yourself sorted before that happens. But if not, it's not the end of the world, and I think this earth is your education starts when you leave school and when you get out into the big bold world. Then is when you really start doing your learning because you start learning about yourself, you learn about the environment, you learn about others, you learn about social equity and all the rest of it. So it's then that you really start learning and you never stop. I mean, the day you die, even when you're dying, you're learning new stuff, because you're learning what's it like to transition. What's all of this stuff that's coming up that I'm being forced to look at. So it doesn't stop. So it's to be gentle on yourself. If you're in a position where you don't like the job you're in, you feel discouraged, you don't know where to go, relax, take it easy, because you won't achieve anything when you're in a state of anxiety and when you're angst. You need to sort of get into a position of relax. There's a great bit of advice. Never go food shopping when you're hungry. You always make poor choices. So get yourself relaxed, get yourself comfortable, sit back and, play some nice music, but chill out, get into that place where you can get into your imagination. You start imagination, do the work for you because it'll give you plenty of choices and it'll give you plenty of options. It's like, what about this? What about that? And then you just need to start following it and follow the breadcrumbs, and you kind of know when the job is with you because you'll feel it inside. You'll feel you just get, oh, I'm getting excited about this. Or you might be getting excited and fearful at the same time. And it's like when you have that, the excitement and the fear at the same time, you're onto a good thing. You know that this is, when everything is engaged, you're onto a good thing. And you just need to follow, and it's all about, relaxing, get a vision, and then take action. Take the whatever steps you can, take the next action. We don't have to know the full picture, but we need to sort of start for wherever it is that we are and just keep taking the steps.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And it's weird. I don't know why this was coming up for me while you were talking, but I was wondering how you feel about AI and how that plays with all of this.
Well, it's AI technology and AI is all here to help us. Now we can, before we had phones, if you wanted to make a phone call, you had to crank it up. You had to make it a phone call, and you went to a service station, and they got the number for you. And it was difficult. Before the internet, people had to write letters and physically communicate. Technology is here for our benefit. Now, there's certain people or organizations maybe that throw in fear. It's like everything in life. Electricity can be used for good, it can be used for bad, it can be used in a negative way. So, like that with AI, it can be used in a positive way, it can be used in a negative way. People need to take responsibility for it and choose to use it in a positive fashion. It's all here to help us. And it's like with the internet. When the internet came out first too, now there was an awful lot of fear around the internet and people, oh, it's the devil's work and the devil's going to get you. And a lot of this being sprouted around the place. And it's like, after a while, people got used to it and realized they can make their life a lot better. The one thing about humans, we are not here to be worker bees. We are here as creators, as an expression of the divine. Now, for that to happen, we need to have freedom. We need to be able to get in touch with our imagination, to be able to get in touch with what makes me feel good. How can I start creating? How can I start making something? Because everybody has this capability to create something. They all have. I mean, there's stuff going around in your children, and bit by bit, it's knocked out of you. And you're told, no, 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 don't be stupid. You can't do that, and you have to get yourself into a little box. And people are being programmed and being conditioned not to ignore this thing called your imagination. And we need to sort of get back in touch with the imagination. In the Bible, it tells us, be like the child, be like the children, for then you enter the kingdom of heaven. Now you can say, what's the kingdom of heaven? I think the kingdom of heaven is when you create heaven on earth, when you can get in where you're feeling fulfilled, where you're creating, where you have this, where you're joyful all of the time. But this is our natural state of being, is to be joyful, happy, abundant, to have and to do whatever it is that we want to do, to be of service to other people, to be of service to humanity, because we're all expressions of the divine. And what's that really mean, being expression of the divine? I think it means where, you know, God is running through us. The energy of God, the energy of spirit is running to and through us all of the time. And where we need to be able to get that energy and to use it to help other people. And that could be putting a smile on our face. It could be singing songs. It could be writing poetry, writing a book, doing some sort of service, cleaning things, painting. There's any manner of things. It could be creating programs that's going to be benefit to people. It could be like what you're doing here now, interviewing people, and it's like helping people to draw out what's inside of them so that they can share that with the rest of the world. So there's many different ways. We just need to sort of open that up a little bit instead of looking down the narrow road, but it's to take the view that the big world out there, and there could be multitude of opportunities and different options that we can have. We just need to be mindful and be curious and to start asking, what if? What if? Why not me?
Wow, love it. So empowering and awakening. It's beautiful. Declan, I don't want to take too much of your time. Is there anything that you'd like to share that we haven't talked about yet?
But it's making these, well, what we're talking about, that can sound fearful to some people, where they have to start taking responsibility for themselves. In life, and I found myself in situations too where I've blamed situations, I blamed other people, my circumstances for I don't have this, I don't have that, and I was blaming other people. And it's only really when you take responsibility for yourself and decide, yes, this is on me. If I'm not living where I want to live, if I'm not living how I live, it's on me. We need to take responsibility and we need to start saying, okay, what can I do? And a bit like what I said there before, what can I give? Not what can I get, what can I give? And I think once we turn it around that way, and once we start giving and be of service, things will start to fall into place. So I encourage everybody to get in touch with their imagination, get in touch with their hearts, with their heart energy, get in touch with divinity that's flowing through and through them, and to search is like, who am I? What am I about? How can I be better? How can I serve more? See
It's,
what happens.
it's beautiful, really beautiful. Declan, if people resonate with you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through Facebook, Declan Kavanagh, or through my group, the Coming Home to You network. So I'm easy enough to find there like that. And it's yeah, I keep it simple. And so just
Great.
search for me on Facebook
Yeah,
or
we'll have you put the links of those in the comments here, and that way people can just click the link and
make it easier for them. Yeah.
make it easy.
Lovely stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. So I really appreciate your time and you doing this with me today. Any final words before we say goodbye?
No, it's a joy to be here, and it's great to yeah to share my wisdom, my knowledge with other people, and it's kind of because this is what I'm doing. I've been for the last 10 years. I've been looking after my parents and looking after people, and sort of realizing that I was playing small as well, and I was using them as like as an excuse not to step up and not to get out there and do anything. So it's I've been there, and I'm taking the steps that I can take to to get more focus and to get more put myself in a position where I can offer more. So
Amazing.
thank you for giving me the opportunity, Derek, to reach out to your audience.
You're so welcome and we really appreciate it. So thanks again for being here, Declan.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you everybody for watching. If you resonate with Declan, then comment or respond to his post. He's going to put his links in there so you can connect with him directly. And if you like what we're doing here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive and you want to be highlighted, spotlighted, and share your gifts, put interview in the comments and I'll connect with you so we can set something up. And even if you're struggling and need some extra support, we can do that too. So just sharing your story is going to help more people than you think. So thank you again, and we'll see everybody at the next one. Bye.
Thank you.